to another episode of Inspiration Talks. I'm very excited about today's episode. I have a very special guest all the way from Canada. Her name is Hibby, who is app developer. So before any delay, let's welcome Hibby. Hello, Hibby. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. First of all, thank you so much for being part of Inspiration Talks, Hebe. So I would like to start our today's conversation with your childhood. Where did you grow up? How was your early life? How was your first job?
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, I'm actually originally from Cape Town, South Africa.
Okay.
And my father is Arabic and English, and my mother is German, Javanese, and Bushman. And so I grew up in Canada. I was born in Cape Town, grew up in Canada with my father's Muslim, my mother's Christian. And I was taught to just love everybody the same. And it was something that I just grew up with. That was how I enjoyed life. And my first job was McDonald's. It's like the total Western thing to do is to have your initiation into the workspace by usually McDonald's restaurants. And I was like 13 years old.
Okay, so right now you are doing your own business, right?
Yes.
So what is your business about?
So I am an app developer or project owner. And so my team developed an app, which is called the World Love Bank. It's a health and wellness app created so that anyone, anywhere could hear the words "I love you" from all around the world. Kind of like what you do, get inspiration from all around the world. What we do is people who sign up, they can sign up from all around the world, and they deposit anonymous words of encouragement. But they say "I love you." So we have a collaboration, and it's a joint account that has "I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you" from all different people from all around the world. But you don't know who they are. You just hear the voice. You know that there's someone else around the world that is willing to share their love. And the reason why we call it the World Love Bank is because we think that love is your most valuable asset. Love is more valuable than money. And there's so many people who struggle with finances and they may not be able to leave anything for their children when they pass on. And it's like, but the sound of their voice and their history and their stories are so valuable, they're priceless. And, and they deserve for us to create them intentionally and save them in a safe place where they can be accessed anytime they're needed. And so that's why the World Love Bank was created.
Okay, so what was the idea behind this app? When did you get this idea? How long did it take to execute this idea?
Oh, well, usually true inspiration comes when, you've overcome a challenge or a hurdle, or you've really you've gone through the fire and suffering and things like that. I believe that the inspiration behind it was the last conversation I had with my brother. He was struggling with mental health and some other issues, and he had called my mom's house, and I knew he was struggling, and I'm his little sister, and so I said, "I love you." And, when you're struggling with mental health, you don't really accept love. You don't believe that you're lovable, right? That's that thing is that there's this wall between you and the world, and you're fighting it all by yourself. And so I was like, "No, I love you." He's like, "No, you don't." I'm like, "I love you." He's like, "No, you don't." And I just kept saying, "I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you." And I remember saying it 15 times until finally he said, "I love you too." And that was a phone call where he called into my mom's house, and I spoke to him. But I hung up, and that was the last time I spoke to him. 3 months later, he ended up dying and left behind his 3-year-old son who would never hear the words, "I love you." So that was something that had touched me so much. And it had helped me grieve in a different way, because I knew for a fact I'd said "I love you" to him. And I knew that he'd heard it because of the way that we had that level of communication. But also there was that missing piece because his son had to grow up without hearing it, because it's not something we normally say. Right? We don't intentionally say those words and say, "I'm going to say this for you," or, we say them all the time to our family and friends. Well, I hope we do. But to actually have those memories and those messages intentionally saved in some place where you can easily access them and they're there, that creates emotional wealth. So fast forward, many, many, many years later, I was going through my own struggle where I was like, I don't know what to do. I could do anything, because I have come to the point in life where if you want to do anything, you can. You just have to
Yeah,
be willing to do it. You have
that's
to be
right.
disciplined to do
Yeah,
it. You have to sacrifice playtime for
true.
work time, and you have to enjoy it, because if you don't enjoy it, it's not worth it. And so I was going through the struggle, and I was going, like, I just love the world so much, but it just doesn't seem valuable. And if I could do anything in the world, and I think it's one of the things we were going to discuss, like if you had $1 million, what would you do? Like, I was like, I was struggling. I was financially, spiritually, emotionally bankrupt in the way that I just felt so broken. But it was that piece that came back to me that was like, what would I do if I could? And it was like, I would build a bank, because I love the world so much, and it just doesn't seem valuable. And the only way to make it valuable is to build a bank, so that it actually is perceived as valuable, like to make the intangible tangible. So I came up with this idea, and I didn't know how I was going to do it. And that was in 2012. And I saved the name, the .com name. I started like working with different people, like different ideas, throwing them around. And I looked at like how to build like a bank with it. Like it didn't make sense. And I thought about like a website, and it was like hundreds of thousands of dollars at that time. I mean, we didn't even have apps in 2012, much less a smartphone. And I just kept that idea, and then I kept working. I kept doing other things that helped me share love. So I worked with orphanages in El Salvador. I worked with people in recovery. I did my best to raise two beautiful children. Like I taught them how to be kind people. I used my daily life every day to give people an opportunity to be seen and heard. And it's like, we all make mistakes. But like I was always aware, like I practiced hard every day to do those kind of things. And usually what happened was, it wasn't when I tried to control it. It was when I actually gave it up to a higher power or whatever. You kind of get out of your own way, and you have to have faith. You have to do the next right thing. And that's what I did. And sure enough, in 2019, and it was before COVID actually even happened. My husband had said, look, this is your dream. And like, not to mention, like I was working like two jobs. Like, if I wanted to go and take time to travel, like somewhere with my husband and the kids, like I worked two jobs because I needed to work two jobs. Right.
Yeah,
And I was not afraid of hard work. Don't be afraid of working hard for what you want. It feels much better to actually get it. So my husband said, okay, look, here, I will invest a little bit into your company. You just need to do it, because if you don't finish this project, you won't, he didn't even worry about not finishing. It's just, you need to follow your passion. This is something that you deserve to do. And I did. And at the same time, my father was struggling with cancer, and lung cancer and brain cancer. And so the end of 2009, he ended up dying. And it was hard. It was
yeah, this,
hard, but when you lose someone, it's hard. But knowing that I was creating something for everyone to be able to actually save those valuable messages, and to share, be intentional with those they love, it was inspirational to me. And then 6 months later, after my dad died, my mom died.
okay,
And
that's so
she
good.
yeah, she died. It'll actually be her anniversary of her death on Thursday. So she'll have been dead 2 years. And Thursday's actually my birthday. So she died on my birthday 2 years ago. And, you have to take time to take care of yourself. And so, and to grieve and to do the things that we have to do in life. So it's not that you're ever giving up. You're just, you're just taking a step back, and then you can take a step forward. And, when my mom passed, I knew that she believed in me. So you have to find inspiration. And she's my most inspirational person. And when she passed, and I said, if God or whatever people believe in, if he opened heaven's gates on my birthday for my mom, then it's a blessed day. So I can then know that, that it's okay, that it was a gift, because we all have to pass on sometime. And so I had also saved many, memories and audio of my mom, So I have her voice saved. I've got her saying, I love you. So if I ever miss her, it's in the bank.
Mhm.
And it again, it's the same thing. It's like how it was with my brother, except now I actually have the audio.
Okay. So here comes another question. How did you come up with the name World Bank app?
Well, it's a bank.
Yeah,
It's to save love. And it's not just the love bank, it's for the world. And that's how I came up with it, because I always thought, and I believe that love is something that needs to be shared.
that's
And
right.
love is something that every culture desires. It doesn't matter where you come from in the world. We all have that human desire to be loved and to be seen. And whether it's from our parents to our children, as from parents to children, or from children up to their grandparents or to our friends, um, love is universal. you know and so that's why it's the World Love Bank. And also because I wanted to be inclusive,
Mhm.
right? I wanted it
Yeah.
to make sure that everyone knew it was from everybody. It's global. It's for the whole world to enjoy. And that's what I wanted to do, is I wanted to make it so that it's the world. And then I had to make it clear that it was love.
Okay, it sounds like a really great app. So, how do you deal with self doubt and doubts from others?
So usually my self-doubt is because I'm in fear of what
Mhm.
other people will think of me, right? So
Yeah,
I create that self-doubt. Right, because there's a story attached, like I'm not good enough, or I'm going to fail.
that's right.
But having said that, what I do with self-doubt is I try to do the next right thing, and I
Mhm.
also try to help other people. So I think if I have self-doubt, I'm procrastinating out of fear, or I'm too self-absorbed on the outcome. And the truth is, it's a matter of just being in action and doing the small things. And if I feel like if I'm stuck with work, then I will do something else, like to help me feel better. Like if if I can't get my brain around working, I will go and do dishes. I'm still
Okay.
doing something, and then I'll see if I can get myself inspired, or go to the gym, or go help somebody else and get out of my own head. Right? That's how
Yeah,
I um, fix my self-doubt. And it's not that it doesn't come. It does come. But the other thing too with self-doubt um is is if I lay out a plan for me, and it's so much easier to follow a plan if I know
yeah,
what I'm expected to do, versus just wake up and go, okay, well, whatever happens happens. And then you're just kind of not being directed. And then when if people are negative, don't let them run space in your head. Like, you have to choose your environment. And that's, if people are negative, and if you feel like people are self-doubting you, don't talk to them. Doesn't mean you don't love them, but like, create a space. And you have to be disciplined, and like, I'm not going to let if you believe in what you're doing, don't let anyone distract you from your primary purpose.
that's right.
Right.
Whatever others
And
says,
don't
let
talk
it be.
about don't talk to them about it. Yeah. And don't gossip about yourself. Don't tell
Yeah,
them things to give them something to bring you down. You just don't talk about it. And and you're not being mean or rude. Just like, I don't want to discuss it. Well, how's it going? And they're gonna, like, bring it down. No, no, things are good. And just, done, cut it off, and redirect the conversation to something else. Oh, so did you, what do you think of the weather, or what, and eventually they'll take a hint. Yeah, you don't have to tell people where you're going. You have to know where you're going. So you become the warden of the, and I don't know if like, a warden in the Western world is like a prison guard, right? They block, but it's like your gates of your
yeah.
mind. You have to block people from getting in. This is your most valuable real estate. And it's only you decide on where you're going to go in life.
It's always better do what your heart says, do after, like, listen to your passion and go after it rather than listening to the people. So
Yeah.
now let's move towards some imaginary questions. So let's imagine and inspire. So maybe if you get a chance for a lottery ticket, for example, you win infinite amount of money, how will you spend that money?
There's a few things I would buy. I would buy a home for my family in this specific area that is close to the mountain. And that is because we like to spend time on the mountain. I would work with the food bank, mental health, and also especially with foster families, so orphanages and things like that. It would be like a bigger conversation, because that's kind of what we do. It's like, you get your shelter, you get your home, and make sure you have food and everything. But then it would like, okay, well, what good is money if you can't help other people, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can always get yourself a fancy jacket, or, and like those are great things. But yeah, I'd want to create programs. I'd want to create ways to help people help each other. Like, especially I feel like um, what I know in Canada is like, there's a lot of children that have, struggles. It's hard,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
They
it is
come
actually.
foster families and things like that. And sometimes there's just not enough people to raise these children. And it's like, or the people who are raising them don't have the skills to actually raise them. I think raising children is one of the biggest gifts and one of the hardest jobs in the world. So creating programs to help people to raise children in healthy environments and give them the opportunity to try different things and be happy and have a good education, have good health. Um, that's what I would do with the money. And there's just so many avenues to do those kind of things. There's just
Yeah.
nonstop.
That's right. So all the best for it. I really wish you win lottery ticket soon.
Thank you.
So you're most welcome. So if you get a chance to live anywhere in any country for one whole year, so what country would you choose?
I would choose Spain.
Okay, that's great choice though. So if you had a chance for time machine, would you prefer to go in your past or in your future?
I would go in my past, because I think that I would go into my past and spend more time when I was younger, studying, going back to school, and studying more exciting things, because I didn't have as much um, drive as I do now. I think, and you're young and you just think, oh, I just want to play and have fun. And I would have spent more time studying and following different things. Like, I like, again, I would have studied like more arts, history and law, but that's just because I'd have a chance to kind of do it all again. I wouldn't go into my future, because I think the exciting thing about life is to know that you can create anything. I don't want to go into the future. Like, my future's tomorrow. Like, I don't need to go into the future. I'm happy with where I'm at today. I'll take it one day at a time moving forward, because everything I do today is going to impact the future.
Yeah, and it's always better to keep the future as a surprise, right? A thing which has surprise is more, it gives more happiness even. You never know what's going to be happening in the future. It's like a suspense. So what are you excited about your work right now? What are your current struggles and your future goals?
So I'm excited about the app and launching it, and we have launched it, but like really getting as many people around the world to download it and to share it with like their friends and to utilize it, because I believe it's so powerful. And so my goal is to have 10 million people download the app by the end of the year. And that's not even a big number when you think about how many people are around the world and how many people really need love and want to have that safety and security. So my goal is to have 10 million people download the app by the end of this year. And current struggles is right now, just again, in the daily life is to keep going, right? We all have
Yeah.
those things where you're juggling a lot of different things, and it's like putting things into priority, being able to find a place for as many things, and to also be okay with letting things go that aren't important. So that's it for yeah. Struggles are, I don't really I don't think there's struggles. I think there's just challenges. And future goals is yeah. So once the app is starting to roll out and people are enjoying it, I have
Yeah.
2 books that I have been waiting to finish writing. So
Okay.
I would love to have those both done by the end of the year. and then be able to share those with the world as well.
So what are those books about?
It's funny because again, these have been written quite a few years ago. I think I went through a big shift in my life, 2012. So I wrote these books. I developed the idea for the app. It was just like, these are the things I need to do. And then I had to live life to be able to get to the point where I was ready. One book is called The Angel Guidebook.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the other one is called From Depressed to Impressed, Who's Pushing Your Buttons?
Okay.
So these are two books that I think are really important for today.
Yeah, they even sound interesting. All the best for it. Really looking forward to read these two new books, which are going to come in the end of this year. So, Hibby, any tips for growing business?
Yes. What I think is a great tip is know what you want, write it out, and research, and do the research. But know that you don't have to do every single part of it. If you need to access help from other people, like, that's good, because everyone has their special bit of expertise that they can lend to your project. So, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't think that you have to know everything. You just, you don't have to recreate the wheel. Like, if you're creating something and this is like this is your project, and if you need to borrow a little help here and a little help here, like, that's okay. You can ask for help or hire help. Right? There's so many different opportunities to hire help.
Yeah. Right.
And don't be afraid to work hard.
Yeah, that's very important thing, that never be afraid of working hard. The more you work hard, the more fruit you will get from your work.
Yeah.
So what's one advice which you would like to share?
My piece of advice is be intentional with your life. Everything you put in, you're going to get out. Right? And that comes to whether it's your work or whether it's your relationships or whether it's your health, or, whether it's your mental health. So, you decide on the type of life that you're going to have. I wish you all the very best. I wish you lots of love. Be intentional with those you care about. Don't miss an opportunity to say I love you. And if you have an opportunity, download the World Love Bank. One word, World Love Bank.
It was great talking with you, Hibby. I really enjoyed our today's conversation. So here's a small gift from me to you.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Would you like to say something in the end, Hibby?
Thank you so much for taking the time. I really enjoyed it. I am inspired by you. You're doing wonderful things in the world, and we all need to follow our passion. Honor your personal existence. And if you don't know what that means, it means have a little hope.
That's right.
Because this world is a loving place.
Yeah, true. You just have to find love where it is.
It's available on the Google Play Store and also the Apple Store. And if people are listening and they try it, and for whatever reason they can't access it through their country, or there's any issues with it, just email me at support@worldlovebank.com and we'll fix it. It's interesting. I think